I just want to double check how much revenue we brought in year to
You're
date.
good to go whenever.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll bring it to order.
All right, we're meeting to discuss transfer station fees, fee items, stickers, in preparation for a new fiscal year. We're in a position where we have to look at and adjust a number of things. So that's why we're here today. We'll start with the fee items.
So I was proposing that we add a couple of them, vacuum cleaners, we get quite a few of. I thought those could easily be a $10 item. I don't think it makes, to have people write a check for less than $10 seems onerous. I know we can use credit cards, but then that adds $2.50. So
Right.
I kind of think $10 is almost like a minimum. I know tires are on there for $7, but those have been on there, again, forever. So I think I was proposing vacuum cleaners for $10, and then kids' plastic toys. Could be a range, it could be, we could put a $20, we could put 15,
Yeah.
whatever, but I think it should be listed, and I think
Yeah.
people should be thinking about it.
we could
Not
s-
everyone reads the fee list, but
We could start at a number and go up, I guess, but I don't know what number.
They don't weigh a lot.
I look at something like one of these kids' plastic
Right.
outdoor doll houses.
right, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I don't know, $15 seems to be pretty reasonable for
Okay.
something like that.
Yep.
And I know there are some things that are smaller, and occasionally there's something that's a little
Yeah,
larger.
again,
We could use
it can also be a discretion thing.
Yeah.
We don't have, we can charge 10, even if
But
something's listed at
I think
15.
we should charge on something
Yeah,
like that.
right now the couch sectional is listed at 30 to 75, but if they have a love seat, I usually charge 20 because it's
Yeah.
smaller than a couch.
Right.
So we already kind of do adjusting a little bit within the price
Those
ranges.
dollhouses include those ride-on cars.
It
the same
depends.
type
Yeah,
of-
right. I'm thinking something like that. Right, a big,
Yeah.
one of those big giant
Yeah.
plastic, whatever it is. If it, like you said, like a car or the dollhouse or
Some
even
of them have
like a
batteries.
slide.
Yeah,
That's what
those,
it's-
They often
the electric
do.
ones, yeah.
They often
yeah.
do. But they've usually pulled those out because they can get something for them.
Would they call the plastic tricycles big wheels or something?
Oh, the big
Oh,
wheels,
yeah,
yeah.
back then,
Yeah,
I mean-
yeah, they're not quite as big,
Yeah.
but again,
No.
we could
Yeah.
get $5 for it.
Yeah.
A lot of times what I tell people on something like that, I'll say, you know what, just add $5 or $10 to the next time you dispose of something.
Yeah.
People are real good about that,
Yeah.
so. And I know that Sue was concerned about like the number of items that are on here, so one thing, if we were adding 2, we could remove that pickup load. Or actually, what we could do is we could just put a slash on a couple of these things. So we could do miscellaneous large items / pickup load range.
Yeah,
That would eliminate one line. And then we could, in order to be able to add vacuum, and then we could combine, because we had also talked about maybe eliminating hot water heaters / stoves because we get money for them. But if we want to leave them on there, we could combine those into one line and call it $20, maybe. Or 25, but we could put stove, dishwasher / hot water heater, 20 or 25.
I think
So
that
that would give us 2 more spots, and then we wouldn't have to.
I think that makes sense, combining those.
Yeah, and then we don't have to change the size of our little box there, and it still fits on there.
Stove,
nicely.
Oh, yeah.
dishwasher.
That's good thinking, Stanley.
Would you call the kids' plastic toys and stuff just bulky plastic?
Yeah, I thought about what to call it, and the problem with that is that bulky plastic is so generic that it's almost like packaging or
I think the DEP refers to them as hard, bulky plastic.
hard bulky. Okay, yeah. Why don't we do that? Why don't we-
As
You have
opposed
those turtle
to,
sandboxes.
Yeah, yeah. So
there's
even
another
something like
one,
that,
right.
right? So something like that. Those the
or little
doll
kids'
houses.
swimming pools,
Little
you
kids'
know,
swimming
those are,
pools.
those
Those are
are
like
kind of
flimsy
soft,
usually.
they're flimsy.
But sometimes they're big.
Yeah,
some
they
of those
are.
things are like 10 feet,
They're
8, 10
getting
feet
bigger,
across,
right.
So yeah, so they take up some room, and this stuff does kind of crush and compact, but some better than others.
That could be discretionary by size
Yeah.
too. or what, you know.
Just speaking of odd shapes, rakes, brooms, shovels, how do they get handled?
And those are usually, I have people throw them in the open top, and we don't usually charge
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
We've accumulated, I think we have 7 shovels up there now, so we could have a whole crew up there to shovel, because we have.
Excellent.
I believe we have 7 shovels. I also think we have like 5 rakes, and I'm not sure I've ever raked up there, but we do have quite a few rakes as well.
You put them for free for the spring, maybe
Yeah,
get the rakes
yeah.
up.
Really,
I have had people try to steal my shovels,
Yeah,
my
The
the
good
metal
stuff,
shovels,
yeah.
my sand shovels.
Really, the rakes are practical only when you're trying to spread the glass in the container
Oh,
or the
yeah, those-
paper.
Right, we have a fair number of those, just those plastic leaf rakes though.
Oh,
We
those
got like
things.
5 of them in the green container.
Okay.
They ought to go this time of year, put them.
Yeah,
put 'em-
you're-
put
it's a
'em-
good
Getting back to what you were talking, Stan, maybe if we put hot water heater, stove, dishwasher all on one line.
Yep.
And just keep them all at 20.
Sure.
I know we have stove and dishwasher at
Yeah,
25.
but we also don't get a lot of them either.
No, and we do get something for 'em.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's fair.
that consolidates a couple lines.
And then I think we put pickup load with miscellaneous large item, we could put a slash there, and that would free up 2 lines to add vacuum and hard plastic.
Did you wanna do a range for the hard bulky plastic or a fee?
You know what, why don't we say 15 to 30? We don't have to charge 30, and then we just,
Yeah.
if there's something monstrous that would kind of gives us the right to,
I've,
but,
I've seen some, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen some big backyard plastic.
yeah.
The whole
Yeah, with the whole thing with the swing. and the-
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah.
Princess
Yeah, I
House.
think we
In
could,
case somebody brings something like that in.
yeah, I think we could say 15 to 30 though, and that gives us the option to charge it.
Okay,
15 to
Just because, it's nice to have a number rather than the word range,
30. Exactly.
just because it gives people an idea. They don't, they see range and they might not have any clue, but this way they at least have a
okay.
ballpark.
And you can't keep it all in your head.
No, and
Or you think you
It's
can
like a
now,
vault.
but
Yeah.
a
Give me
couple
a
of years
couple of
from
years,
now,
yeah.
forget it.
if someone questions them, it's like, look, there is a range here,
Yeah.
I'm not making it up, you
Right,
know.
oh, then, right, that's why it's better to have a
Exactly.
dollar amount on there.
Yeah, it's more transparent.
Yeah.
So you wanted to look at revenues, Paul?
Well, before one last thing,
Oh, sure.
on the fee items is we've got the Earth Machine
Oh,
composter.
right, it's kind of an
That we
oddball
need
tack
to-
item.
We need to address that. You know, we're gonna be sitting on them for who knows how long at $70. I think
Well, we dropped the price.
I know,
Had a false
and there's
start.
We'll
still,
give them a free rake with it. No.
For every kid's plastic toy you dispose of, we give you a composter.
we've dropped the price, but we haven't dropped it on here.
Also true.
And that's where I'm coming from,
Yeah, right.
because they take up storage space. They haven't been flying off the shelf.
Yeah.
They're prominent, they're right out
And-
there with the sign on it. and-
You're
And
right.
going down the road, if we do start doing the Black Earth thing, they may even be people will be less interested in them.
Now, Sue, didn't we get some from Boylston, or they were looking for them, that time you were looking for a couple? Boylston, Mass, didn't?
No, we bought them all new.
Yes, I know, but she found two somewhere, I thought you did, didn't you, somebody?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
That's why I'm leaving. My memory's gone.
Please.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I mean, do you wanna make it, what do you wanna price it at?
Would we lower it to 50 something?
57, I think.
47?
Yeah, I don't know how many we have left. We must have half a dozen. I
Oh, we
think.
got way more than that.
Do we?
We have between 20 and 25. How many did we buy?
No, you can only buy 20 come on up.
Is it 20?
Yep.
Okay, I think we've sold 3. 3 or maybe 4. So we have, at least have 15,
So go to 45? Or
50.
I don't know,
50's a
45,
nice
50
round number.
bucks comes to my mind. I
50's
mean,
a nice round number.
and what do you ask now, 57?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've sold one at that, and I sold a couple at 70 when we first got them in.
when we first got them in, right?
Yeah.
Still cheaper than what you can get them at Lowe's and Home Depot for.
True.
A lot cheaper.
No kidding.
Yeah, but you reach a point where just because it's cheaper,
Storage.
what does it mean to us in terms of storage?
Right.
And, you know, when
Yeah.
we've stored them in the past, before you came on,
Highway.
They got
bound,
They
damaged.
got
yeah.
smashed, yeah.
They
I mean, I
got
fixed like
smashed.
4 of them and we discounted them to get rid of them.
rid of
but
them,
yeah.
right, you
Oh,
had to
yeah.
make some repairs.
Yep.
The longer you hold on to something, the more opportunity for it to
Right.
get damaged.
The flip side to your thing with the Black Earth thing would be is if we're obviously not talking about it yet, but
Right.
the pay-as-you-throw business, I mean, if we did go to that, then that's an incentive for people to compost. But if we had the Black Earth, people can bring their stuff there with that. But rather than hauling your compostable material to the transfer station, it actually might make more of a desire to have. We might sell more of these.
Right.
If we do the pay-as-you-throw, I think the Black Earth thing, yes, people, if they have that option of just being able to bring it to the transfer station, then I think we probably would not sell very many of them. But if we're starting to now go to pay-as-you-throw, and people have a strong financial incentive now to remove compost from the trash, we might actually sell more of them. But we're not at that point yet.
My suggestion would be to price what we have left at $50, see what happens.
Sure.
Yep, we can run from there.
We'll just make a new sign for the one that's out there and just say $50. We don't have to say fall
Spring
special.
special,
We can
Yeah,
say
there you
spring,
go.
we could change it to spring special.
Yeah.
Sure.
there you go.
Even entice them if they're looking at it with one of them rakes,
Two for the price, right? We can give them 2 for the price of 3.
till we get rid of those.
How many do we have?
15 plus. I could do an inventory on them for you, but if we bought 20, I have not sold, I don't think I've sold 5.
No.
So it's 15, 16, somewhere in there.
I mean,
But they're big and they're bulky and they take
Yeah.
up a fair amount of room.
Well, absolutely.
I mean, they do come in 2 pieces and they're kind of nested, but it's
Yeah.
still a good amount of room.
And we
to
moved
take
them
up.
around from
and
highway.
and
down,
it's not
highway
like
down till
we're a
the-
retail store
storage.
where we have to make money on absolutely everything. It
No,
comes
but
up,
those came from a grant,
yeah,
Yes,
and so we're selling them now at below cost.
yeah,
So whatever money we get is not going to be,
It's not really a negative. Is that what you're saying?
no, it is,
Yeah.
because if you ever wanna buy them again in the future, which
Good.
I understand Paul does not, cause he doesn't like to store them, you're not gonna have enough
Not
money
enough
to
money.
even buy them.
maybe we have a brand new building down there by then.
What was the cost?
It was
It
60
was,
and change.
it was
I think
60
it's-
something.
Yeah, because I
60,
think at
65,
70 we
I
were,
think, yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah.
like 67, 68.
And you had to
The
buy,
70 was basically
you
to
had to
make
buy
our cost.
20, right,
Right.
Susan?
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe so.
that was
Yeah.
just basically to cover our, we weren't trying to make anything
No,
on
it
it, we
does,
were like, we'll just kind of cover our costs. Yeah, they were 65.
I mean, I don't know, do people think we should sit on what we have and keep charging a higher money?
I just think we.
I'm concerned that we only have so much storage
Let's
space
blow them out,
there.
and if we have to buy them again, we buy them again.
And
Okay.
see with Earth Day around, things going, if they go.
Yeah, there was 0 interest this year with Earth Day, unfortunately.
right.
But, you never know. I mean, the first time when I put them out, it was in the spring, and we sold the ones that we had been sitting on, we sold a fair number of them. Because
Yes.
people didn't even realize we had them, because they were not out.
Yeah.
So,
And you
Just
put a,
go-
you put
go-
a sign up.
Going back to one last item on bath fixtures, we were gonna go with a range
we're gonna do a
instead of
range,
20.
like, say, 20
Okay.
to 50.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I see no downside with listing a range, because you don't have to charge
No.
the highest number, you just,
You
just
said
gives
20 to
people an
60.
idea.
60 or 50 with a phone.
I said 50, but
Do we wanna raise the mattress to, there was a
Yeah,
little
what
bit of
was our-
discussion on
what
that.
was the-
Whatever we're
whatever
paying.
we're currently paying, so we should probably look at our most recent
Yeah.
Superior bill. Or Ted, is that Ted, that's not Superior, it's Ted's,
I think it was Propane Ted that was
Propane
picking up.
Ted, but I don't know what his bill says, I don't know what the
Yeah,
name
I
of
don't
the bill is.
remember,
We just did it, so it was like within a month, the container's pretty empty, so we should look at that most recent bill.
And propane tank, they stayed the same?
Yeah, in fact, because we actually have a guy that takes those now, we don't even have to pay to get
Right,
rid of
that's
them.
what I thought,
So
yeah.
we
guess we
lowered the
might check
price on
that.
those to $10.
Terrific.
We, I don't remember seeing anything like that in the file yet.
For what?
The
The mattress?
the propane tanks.
No, because we don't pay.
We don't pay that, the guy takes them for the weight. No.
We have a guy that comes
So
up,
that's
that's
good.
an extra, a customer. But we should have a bill from Ted in the last month for mattress disposal.
Yeah.
And then we can look and see what we're paying, and decide if we wanna jump it to 40 or not.
Okay, so mattress is up in the air till we figure it out. Oh, there we
I think
go.
we're gonna have it figured out. It's definitely within the last month, so. I don't know how fast they send in their bills, though.
Yeah, right.
They've been,
Ask Val.
they've been a
I
little,
know.
they've been a little lax in the
Yeah.
past, I remember.
And you gotta watch them sometimes, cause they get fluctuating, and Sue has picked it up before, and Donna is like, when did you change this rate, you know, so sometimes
Well, and
just,
sometimes they, yeah, you gotta keep an eye on them.
but they've been pretty good for a while, right, Paul, since spoke
As
with them.
far as I know.
That way. I brought the whole file.
They charge us by the linear foot on the lamps, that's interesting.
On what?
So they charge us by the foot on fluorescent tubes,
Yeah,
that's interesting. Makes sense, but I hadn't seen it.
Is that intact tubes, or if they have broken
If they're broken,
tubes?
I pitch them in the trash, cause
Okay.
once the gas is out of them.
yeah,
Right.
It's, the issue's over.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And you wonder where they're going, are they?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I don't think they're particularly handling them
Yeah,
well
right.
with kid gloves
Geez,
or whatever
they
they're gonna
broke when we put them in.
Well, Rick called me this morning, but I
Okay,
was on
good.
another line, he's off to a funeral, he and I are gonna catch up
Yeah,
later
he's good.
today.
That's still going all right with Rick, so far?
Yeah, he seems
Well,
fine.
yeah,
Oh,
I
no,
had-
he's good, I know.
Yeah, he seems fine.
I had to deal with the State Ethics
Y-
Commission,
right.
and that took me 2 days. I had to wait by the phone because you put in a call and they get back to you. And it was a form, 4-page form that had to be filled out, so I had to make sure I was someplace where I could sit and deal with
Yeah.
the form.
Right.
So I had to
Overload.
wait by the, no, I had to wait, I had other things to do, but it took me a day and a half to get the answers I needed.
That's because he works at Assabet since he graduated, he stayed there working, and he wanted to
But he's
come
done
to
in
the
July.
town.
Yeah, he's not,
Rick
yeah,
Rader.
I don't even
Rick
know
Rainbow.
what that
Oh, Rainbow,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
in the front.
he's done in
Yeah,
July.
Starling.
We're literally talking for
The
3
ethics issue
Ah.
is that he works for a regional school that gets money from the town of
The
Berlin.
pensions.
And then he would, no, just
Oh, just money,
just
then,
paid.
okay.
paid, and
Okay.
then he would
He's
be
an employee.
working for the town of Berlin for pay. And somehow
Like there's
that's
one.
an ethical issue.
Even though it's part-time, no benefits.
Right, just because he has 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Because the jobs are related, it becomes an ethical issue.
Yeah,
Now, you tell me, what could he do that would be unethical
Yeah.
in those 2 jobs?
right.
That's just it. That regulation has to do with something
Something
far,
happens.
far
Right.
above whatever monies
Two-
we're talking about
Two
here.
different entities, you know, just,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the money
Well,
comes
then-
from the
Yes.
same place, so
Exactly.
that's the point.
But I don't know what they're
understand that.
called.
Is it 2 different rates?
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Well, he's been in Assabet for 30-something
Yeah,
years.
Since he graduated from there.
And he's part-time here, so then that means he would be entitled to a pension or a retirement or something?
No,
Part-time, no.
No, okay.
no.
that's the thing about Berlin. Not yet, anyway.
Superior
Yeah.
way. Yeah, I don't know what he calls them, I mean, I assume it's Ted's, but they've called themselves something else when he's called me, or is it Lambert, I think is his last name.
Ethics Commission.
Yeah, they're calling to find out.
Lambert.
Like I said, it just got
I think
emptied
I've seen Lambert
3 weeks ago,
before.
3 weeks ago.
He's not complete recycling, that's electronic.
Right.
No, I do not
Hmm.
see it. CSI, Titan Bomb, electric bills.
I was gonna say, we should at least have one from the prior one that got called.
What was the name of the company again that?
Well, so his name is Ted Lambert, but that's what I'm saying, I don't know exactly what might be on an invoice.
Okay. Is there any chance that because it was 3 weeks ago when there was the transition, that they might have emailed us a bill and it was sitting on the email somewhere?
That's a chance, but I with him,
Probably
they
more
kinda
likely
don't.
that he just, it's
Okay,
probably more
okay.
likely that he just hasn't sent the bill yet.
Alright.
But we should have had one from earlier in the year. I mean, if you're looking at
If
the
not
year's worth
earlier
there,
this
Sue,
year, we certainly had something
yeah.
from last year.
We had something else this year. I mean, that thing fills up about every 3 months.
So should we just go to 40, up 5?
Well, we're trying to find out what we pay, and that's what we wanna go to.
He's not out of Needham, is he?
No.
There's a 401 number.
Give
Yeah.
it to the smart person.
Well, sometimes you need a second eye, let's see.
I'm looking at this second page here on this handout for all the vendors, and I'm not seeing mattress per
All right.
se.
Does she have a separate mattress file?
Well, that could be.
Did we see that?
I
feel
don't
like
know, I'm
when
still
John
trying
and I
to,
were looking through
I'm
the
trying to
folders.
find the folders.
What is Echo?
Echo Plus Recycling Services,
Mm-hmm.
ECO Plus.
Oh, there you go, Paul. That's exactly what that is.
Yep.
Echo-
Joined
it's
Ted
Echo
and
Plus.
9.8 million other people, so they're saying his name is Ted.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Ted Lambert from
Ted
Echo
Lambert.
Plus.
You didn't
That's
see
it.
Echo Plus in there, Sue?
No, we're just
So
looking at
Echo
the
Plus
bills
is
right now. I
980.
have not,
It's right
It's-
there
it's
at the East
Echo
Coast.
Yeah,
Because
right under
those
East
numbers
Coast.
would be right. That would be, when that container's full, it's about 30, there's about 30 mattresses, so those numbers are.
September's 1,000.
Yeah.
October's 11.
Yep.
January's 1,000. There's nothing from February, March, April, May.
No, and there wouldn't, it's not filling every month, but I'm surprised that there's back-to-back months with September, October, to be honest with you. So just had an influx.
So yeah, he's out of Foxborough.
That's right,
Oh, is it?
Foxborough,
Yeah.
yeah, I knew he was down by Route 1 somewhere.
All right, so it goes by Echo Plus.
Echo Plus. So now do you break them down? How many did we take in, Stan?
Well, we'd have to look at an invoice and see what he billed us for. Like I said, when I call them, they usually are hauling away somewhere between 25 and 35. It varies a little bit depending on
Okay.
the size of them.
Wow. I didn't think it was getting up that high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you wanna, right now, until we find an invoice, you'd like to keep it around 35, with the option of going to 40 if we have to.
I think so.
Well, put a range on it?
No.
No.
That one, I
No.
think we should,
Yeah, because that's a set.
because then people are gonna
Right.
wanna haggle for
Yeah,
a
yeah.
win versus a.
Yeah, yeah. I understand. All right, so, ooh.
As long as the lowest end.
I don't see anything
No
for
Echo
this
Plus?
year either.
I'm guessing that, I'm thinking there, like you said, there's a separate file for some
Yeah.
reason. Maybe it's because she had to track it for the DEP, for that grant, for that container.
Yep,
Is there a chance that maybe she does have a separate file?
I don't know.
under the state grant.
I just thinking because it is kind of a separate little program. Anyhow.
I mean, I went looking for the BP bill because I noticed that was missing. And I said, told Val, Paul will have a fit, so
He will too.
we called them. Okay, so that's all those rates.
We didn't. Box spring and mattress, 35. Well, for right now, until we get confirmation, I'd say box spring and mattress, we stay at 35.
Okay.
With the understanding, when we get a little more information, that may bump.
Okay.
I don't think it's appropriate time to try and make money on that one. It's just
No.
recoup our costs.
So the earth machine, the composters are also on this form if we're talking about changing the price. You got that
Yep.
already? Okay, cool.
Now you're down with stickers.
Well, what we're also need to factor in is effective July 1, we're paying $180 a haul and $135 a ton for disposal, which is
Significant.
significant increase over what we're currently paying.
I figure we have to bring in $183,202 to cover your expenses next year.
$2 will be important.
Hey, you better bring that in.
I'm on it. nickel at a time.
Well, at least I had the figure.
So, we basically, I mean, rough numbers, we're looking at selling a base of 700 stickers. Don't know the percentage between full household or seniors.
Well, I mean, she's got 439 on here versus 201. So it's about 2 to 1.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure what the second, so FY '25, okay, so 418 versus 1, so actually we went down 20-something stickers, but senior and off a couple seniors, so, for whatever reason. So, yeah, but it's about 2 to 1 with a base of more like 600.
It's not a bad deal, what we have, and
It's not a bad
up-
deal.
up to other towns.
Yeah.
I have looked at it lately, but
If you wanna pay to get rid of your trash, if you wanna pay to have it hauled away, it's gonna be $700. So,
I'm tempted to be bold on the first household sticker, think about 250. I mean, it's a little bit of a guessing game.
we ran those, I mean, I did that exercise and it was, but the extra cost from BP this year is it was like 27 grand, that increase in haul and our tonnage.
Okay.
It was 25, call it 25,000. So to recoup 25,000, we need on 600 stickers, how much do we need to go up? Is that that's like $40, isn't it?
well, I think 250 is a good number to start at.
It is, it's a nice round
And then
number.
what would the second sticker be at that rate, if we were to do those?
The thing about the second sticker is that it's literally just to cover our,
It's negligent, but yeah.
well, but there's not an additional, they're not hauling any more trash because they have a second
Yeah,
sticker.
okay.
Well, assuming they're
It's
not.
paperwork and internal.
Yeah,
Right.
I already feel guilty charging them the 25, and I really feel guilty charging them for replacement stickers, because I know that they
Right,
don't cost
right.
us $15,
Yeah.
but whatever. It is what it is.
We could play with it a little bit and reduce the additional sticker fee to 20, small change, but
Yeah, I mean, there is also I think the reason we have it too was to be a little bit of a disincentive for people to,
right.
like, hand them out like candy to their family. I mean,
Well,
I think it was a thing about
Was
filling,
happening.
about people were getting multiples for family members.
Right.
As opposed to one household should be.
Like you're talking outside home,
Yeah.
outside of town family members?
No,
no,
more along the
okay.
lines of one household
They
buying-
Supplying other households with
supplying
secondary.
more, like their kids.
I thought
like-
there was some check and balance in that.
How?
To some extent,
Registration of the vehicle.
yes, but the vehicle, meaning it's registered at the same address or a
Yes.
different address?
But
Same
Stan,
address.
when the vehicles are backing in,
No, when we sell the sticker,
When
he's
you
saying.
sell
So
the
yeah,
sticker.
so they're yes. There
but if
is.
he comes and buys 3 stickers,
I-
one for his in-laws, one for him,
But if
and,
they're all the same address,
same
the
household.
idea is that it should be.
but say his daughter moves out, he still buys his daughter a sticker, you wouldn't know the difference. She's using his car.
I would imagine that percentage would be extremely low. I can't
agree.
you can't mitigate every loophole,
No.
but you
Well,
can
that's right.
definitely do a bulk of it.
Right.
You know, accept some loss.
Well, then I guess the question is, what's the logic for $25 for a second sticker versus a replacement cost for a sticker? Like, why is the second sticker cost any more than?
For the
More
pa-
than a
for-
replacement?
For the paperwork and the time.
But that's what the replacement sticker cost is. If we're assuming that all it is administrative and they're not getting rid of any additional trash.
Oh, no,
why-
I agree, yeah.
Then why is the 25,
Make
why
them
is
the
it
same.
25?
And just call,
I thought it was a
I see.
disincentive for people to hand them out
Yes, I
like
see what
candy.
you're saying, yes. Go
But
ahead.
maybe there's the balance, that the cross-checking thing
Sure.
has factored in and helped some of that as well. Maybe it wasn't always as monitored as it should be.
So 250, you think, everybody? And then a late sticker would be what?
You go up 30, what are we up, $25 now, or 30 bucks? We had, it's a $30 fee, so 280.
Yeah.
So-
The
And then the
idea is to
seniors
get
is
all the
around-
money up front, so we
Right.
know how much we have to spend.
That's the whole initiative, to get them in there, right? Yeah.
And then the seniors half price is at 125, so 250 and 125.
Chairman, what do you think of that?
Okay.
I mean, it's a nominal increase, and we didn't go up last year.
Did we say 275 or 280 on the late fee?
Well, I think it was, right now it's adding $30 in the late fee, so I was saying 280, because you add 30 to the 250. But 275 is also a round number.
You
But we
know,
got a fair amount of these late fees.
you're gonna be end up selling your dog because you don't have enough money to run the transfer station.
Sure am not.
He's gonna have to bring
I'll
his
write
shot-
you a check before I sell my
He'll
dog.
have to bring his shotgun with him. No.
I mean, at the end of the day, $5 times the number of
Yeah, I
late
mean-
stickers is not a lot of money.
We don't sell a ton of them, I mean, yeah, but there should be a disincentive, there absolutely should be a disincentive.
I just think 275 sounds better than 280.
Okay.
You know,
It does.
Okay, so we'll go 275 for the late.
for the late, yeah.
Good deal, Bill.
So then the seniors would be 125 and 150, right? It was 25.
Yep.
Yep. So 150 for late.
Okay, so we'll go 250 for the first, 275 for late,
Yep.
senior 125, and then late 150.
So we'll also need to get to Unibank and give them, once we change our prices, we have them change it in our,
That can't happen until the
Right.
first.
And what was the suggestion, to put second sticker at 15 and replacement sticker at 15, Stanley?
I don't know that we've really
We didn't.
finalized that
Okay.
piece. I mean, we already say 3 stickers household max.
Right.
So
mean, I
one
don't-
primary, 2 secondaries.
I've never gotten pushback from people paying for the extra sticker. I've gotten
No.
people paying, giving me pushback for having to pay for a replacement. I already paid for this once.
Yeah, but do they have the copy of their receipt?
Never, never.
So we have to go look it up. You have to look at a new registration, because it's a whole bunch of new information.
Right.
I don't think 15 is unreasonable for that.
No.
So the question is, should additional stickers also be 15, or should we just keep it the way we have it? There doesn't need to be a reason to lower it. People are used to it. We
Right.
stick with
That's
it.
Yeah,
what I thought.
don't
yeah.
mess with it.
Don't mess with
Yeah.
it. I would leave it at the 25 and 15
Okay,
and be done with it.
great.
I don't know what they cost us for the stickers, but
So-
I don't
When you
even
said
know.
15, you're talking replacement?
replacement.
Replacement,
And
yeah.
what I try to tell people that I said, if you know you're gonna get rid of the cars, it's scrape at least a portion of the sticker off and tape it to your window.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
good idea, yeah.
Very few do.
So we've been doing good with that sticker company we moved to, right, Susan?
I have not had any complaints this year that people tell, I have not had anybody
Nothing
with
falling
that.
off?
No,
'Cause
I've had
we-
0 of that.
We switched from Clinton to that company, and
Yeah.
they've been good.
Yep.
That first year I was there, we had a lot of them where people said they were falling off.
Okay, so we're gonna keep the replacement sticker at 15,
Right,
Yep.
and the second or third sticker per household stays at 25.
Yep.
25 each, yep.
Okay.
And late fee date, we start selling July 1st. If we give them 6 weeks, that would be Saturday, August 16th.
Okay,
So
so,
the straight fee would be
Until
through
then.
including August 16th. Effective August 17th,
Okay.
it's late fee.
So purchased by August, the way we have it written on here is, we say
17th.
purchased by, so if we say purchased by August 16th, it's the 250, and late sticker means anything after the 16th.
Yeah, but you know, people will,
Right?
that's why it's written on here.
Mm-hmm.
and just a day
Oh,
earlier.
yeah, some people
Yeah, just
wanna
the way the
post
calendar-
date their check and all that sort of thing.
Okay, the other question I had is somebody moved out of town and they wanted a rebate on the
No.
sticker. No, right?
Absolutely not.
I agree with that.
Never done it.
Cause
We've been,
I heard that and I'm like, whoa.
Has anyone?
oh
requested
yeah,
that?
there
Have
was
they?
this year, they
Yeah.
moved out and they
Yeah.
wanted they moved out in August or July,
Yeah.
and they wanted a refund. Then
Right.
why the hell did you
Yeah.
buy the sticker?
And I'm sure they emptied their house into the dumpster before they
Well,
left.
that's a key consideration
Yes.
too.
No refunds.
You know?
I agree with that 100%. I've never had anybody ask me. I'm not surprised that you guys have had it, but.
Yeah, I saw that come up, I'm
Yeah,
like,
not
no,
everybody has.
come on.
That's something they go to the office for.
Makes sense.
Try to,
Yeah, yeah, like,
Do we want to talk about this form at all? The only thing I would like to add is that someone called me on this and I would like to have it on here. For the recycling section, we should say we accept numbers 1 through 5. I know we have a sign up at the transfer station, but I think it should be on here.
how do you want
Okay.
to,
Oh, just where it's, think clean, recycle stream glass, jars, paper, cardboard, plastics must be free of food residue, liquids, and grease. We, Berlin accepts, plastic recycled numbers 1 through 5 only,
okay.
something like that.
Do you want this changed in any way?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, got it.
And obviously, this has to be printed on a different colored paper
Right.
this year.
It's gonna be green, we already have
Green,
the paper.
okay.
oh,
Green's good.
earth green.
Green.
That sounds good.
I couldn't do anything else ahead, but I could order the paper ahead.
How do you determine year and color, or the color for the year?
We try to switch them up.
Dartboard or?
We had,
Pretty
yeah,
much a dartboard.
Yeah.
but we had an extra ream of green, so I thought we
Oh,
matched
recycle-
it.
For the
Yeah.
stick-
And-
for the
Stickers, we
I mean,
try to
yeah,
switch
Yeah,
off.
definitely need to
Boom, boom,
alternate
boom,
those.
you know, 2 or 3 years.
So if the sticker, what color was the sticker this year? Green?
Green.
So we'll want pink or
Blue or
yellow
red or
or,
something.
yeah, something opposite.
Yeah.
So when they
It'd
back
be nice
up,
to go back 2 years, just so we
That's
know.
what I,
Absolutely.
You know, if it's green this year, what was last year? We don't go with
Last
last
year was-
year,
yeah,
we go
last
the
year
year
was
before
blue.
that.
and before that it was red, I think, still.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think it was red, so
Let's
it
do
should at least be the red or something.
maybe go to the reds.
Not blue or green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So year-to-date, Sue, are you comfortable with our revenue numbers? Are we gonna be okay? for
uh,
this year?
I gotta figure out how to, I'm gonna use Valerie and have her help me find the file. I think year-to-date we are, next year you're gonna have to be,
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, BP hasn't figured out how to send us the correct bills yet. Paul wanted to call and have them, bring up the prices, and I said, no, as long as they wanna undercharge us, let's.
I asked for an opinion, I didn't say that we should do that.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
the other problem though too is if you let that go, sometimes you can get whacked with it.
They'll try to-
Sometimes they'll come back
That's-
and
they'll
they'll
try
say
to
that-
That's the balancing
back,
act, you
yeah.
know,
And then you get
if they
surprised.
discover it,
Yeah.
they could come
Yeah.
back.
They did that to us once, remember? They-
And actually, they didn't. I brought
Oh,
it to their attention
That's
and
right.
nothing
Yeah,
happened.
That's right, yep,
We owed them money, but it was, $2,000.
yeah.
Um,
And then they had the.
You know, the whole trash industry is,
Right.
there's gray areas.
Mhm.
Exactly.
There really is, because of the
incestuous, a
nature
little-
of the material
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
nature of how it works. No right or wrong.
Right.
Well, one time you called.
It's not as simple as people
Oh,
think.
yeah. I remember you called once and they'd switched secretaries, so one had a little different rate in their head than the other, and it was like, Paul straightened it out, and they went with, they did go with what they gave us, didn't they, Paul?
Yeah, I don't remember that
The
one.
items
Bobby.
prohibited, we should, on this form, we might wanna,
Which one?
it says items prohibited at transfer station, any, all hazardous waste, antifreeze, brake fluid, demolition material, paint in liquid form, gasoline, used motor oil. I think we should also point out the latex versus oil-based.
Yeah.
Or does that additive to paints, does that work in oil-based, or is that only in latex? powder
don't
that they
know.
sell. I don't
I
either.
don't know.
What if you get a dry oil? Will you take it completely dried?
I mean, if the
I would-
container's dry, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd
I mean,
take-
chances are it's a quarter or half a container, so I
Yeah.
would say yes.
Okay.
But so I'm just wondering if we should point out oil-based, or if we should, or do we just leave it alone and say paint in liquid form?
I
I-
would leave it alone.
Paint liquid form is
Yeah.
fine, yeah.
Because if nothing else, that'll generate the question.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I missed this part.
Yeah.
The senior sticker, is that still gonna stay at 110?
No, that'll be
No.
half, it'll be one
I was gonna
twenty-five.
go to
Yeah.
120? Thank you.
125.
125 and,
Half of one fifty.
And the
One-
late fee would be
150.
150.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Half-price stickers,
these are gonna stay the same.
Oh,
effective,
right.
effective January 1.
Yeah, I mean, and then I usually go quarter for the second, for if someone moves in April. I mean, I'll give them a 3 month, I've done.
Oh, sure.
A couple of 3 months, but yeah, I would say, I've even done 3/4. I mean, I've done prorated, but we could, I just think it's fair and equitable to do prorated, but if you don't
I
wanna,
do-
if you don't wanna discount anything until January, we can do that, we can
No,
just make
I
them.
have no, I think
I just think
prorating is fair.
Yeah, I just think that and especially if you charge somebody a late fee when they move into town in, let's say, November,
Right.
they didn't have any choice, they couldn't get a sticker before then, and now you're
Right.
charging them a late fee.
They didn't have a res.
So I usually just prorate it based on the original fee.
Yeah.
For a new resident.
Yeah.
If somebody comes in and says, I just screwed up, then I don't care what time it is, they're gonna get a late fee. I mean, they're gonna get a late fee, and I'm not gonna prorate it.
Right.
Because odds are, if they had a sticker last year, they've probably been coming and we didn't catch them. You know,
There
so,
you go.
but if they move into town, I prorate them. I just figure that that's the fairest way to go. But I don't prorate somebody who says they forgot.
No, no. That makes sense.
As long as everyone's on board with that.
Yep.
No, that sounds good. It's worked so far, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just try to be
Fair.
fair about it and try to be professional about it.
I know it costs money. That's not the question. Is there a system out there, I'm just playing around with different
Mhm.
thoughts, that the police officers have cameras that scan license plates and they can see whose license plate is not registered,
Not
or if there's warrants? Is there anything that is in this type of business that would scan a barcode as you drive in
Not a clue.
and log the person?
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it would have to be, we'd
We
have
got
to
a
then
state-
insist
got
that
a
it goes
state
in the same
registered
spot.
spot.
I know it's gonna cost, but I'm just curious if there's something out there.
Yeah, no, they have
They'd have to put it on
pla-
the same spot, I would
plate
think,
read-
of their vehicle.
plate readers, but I don't know who would be able to monitor that. You know, he's not in the office
Something to look
half,
into.
half the
I'm
time,
gonna
Definitely something
but
to
it's
look
a,
into.
it's a great thought.
Once upon a time, there was a system that put, and this doesn't really apply to us, but they put barcodes on containers, and then they had a CCD reader in the truck so that it would automatically record what container was emptied at what time, so that then it was a domino effect of accurate information going all the way back to billing. But in terms of
They still do.
applying it to residential vehicles, you know, like you say, placement, everything would have to be in the same place on every
Or at least in a
vehicle,
range
and
of-
how you make that happen.
Well, I know at landfills, they still do the billolating, you know, number, so in case they're looking for something, they know generally where it could be in that landfill.
So,
But that's how we used to do it.
everybody good? It was a good,
I think so. unless
Anything
Paul's-
else?
Yeah, the half price after, January 1st, that's not listed on any, that's just something.
his discretion.
Not
Yep,
listed.
okay. I just wanna make sure I wasn't missing it.
Yeah, and I don't know if we wanna hang out anything
Yeah,
about prorated either,
6-month
just
discussion,
let,
right.
People are always very happy when I offer it, and maybe we just leave it at.
leave it, I would
if
say
they
leave
might-
it
they
at
might-
that.
Yeah, they've come in thinking they're gonna have to pay the whole sticker, and when I prorate it, they're pleased. So rather than put it on there,
Unless they've
all you're
already,
doing is asking
they
for,
wrote out their check already and go, here.
yeah, I've never had
Okay.
that, never had that.
You open the
Sure.
door to more pushback.
That's
Right,
what
yeah,
that's what I'm
exactly.
afraid of,
Exactly.
Agreed.
and more excuses, you know.
Yep.
Oh, I can imagine.
What happened? Oh, I was away, I was in the
can imagine.
hospital, or I was this, or I was that, or, I think.
I was on vacation in Hawaii,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, that's why we have the
We'll
mail
charge
away,
you.
and I,
Well, you can afford the late fee.
yeah, you can, right, if you can afford to be on vacation in Hawaii for the last 5 months, then you can afford the late fee. I don't care if you didn't come back with any money.
And then, do we just need
Yeah, there
some,
you go.
is maybe, all these
Crazy.
dates are the same
No,
for the holidays?
Oh, yeah, those.
Well,
Oh,
July
yeah,
4th would be, so,
holidays.
this
Yes.
one would
Oh,
change,
yeah,
but Christmas is always the same, and January 1st is always the same.
yeah, and
And
that's
then
always a,
June
Right,
Same
but July,
19th.
yeah, so when does
Yeah.
the fourth, is that, oh, that's checks will not be cashed by, all right, so when this year, July 4th is what, it's a Friday, I think, right?
it is an odd day, yes.
So we're closed anyway. And we don't typically close any additional days, because we're only open the 3 days.
You get paid for that day, right?
I do,
Yeah, right, that's, yeah.
4 hours, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
July
like 3 months.
4th is
It's
a
one of the big
Friday.
benefits, one of the big benefits. you
Oh, I'm
get.
telling you, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
it's
That's what I live
because
for.
if we, I forget all the reasons for that funky pay thing,
Mhm.
but if you worked on a holiday, then I guess you get double pay, and they figured it out. I have just followed it
I
for
look
12
at it,
years.
I look at it as free money, so
Yeah,
it's
right.
fine.
So, are we good? So we let the poor person who's sitting back there recording this go home?
Yeah, she comes in. has
I'll make a
just like
motion.
that, right?
To
Well, I
adjourn.
mean,
Oh,
let's,
oh, oh,
I just wanna make sure before we hurry into a motion, is there anything else that we're missing? We're here, now's the time to deal with it, before we quickly pull the trigger.
Signage, you're good with signage, right, Paul?
Yep.
Barricades, for the,
The third-party transfer station inspection went fine, there's no issues with DEP, so there's nothing there. I've started a conversation with Highway about some things that we need some help with down there.
okay.
Couple things, Kevin Pond, we might enlist his help to deal with.
Stay the same? Okay,
And
stay the same.
Well, that'll be capital next year, maybe sealing that place, next year or something.
that's gotta be in the budget for next year. Hopefully this year they can get the crack sealing done.
Yeah.
But then the whole paved area should get sealed.
It is fortunate we have a crack seal now, I mean, in town, I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get anywhere with, where the people that do the pay-as-you-throw,
I rescheduled because we're not ready for that,
Yeah.
and want to see how things shake out, because I don't think the information that we were able to give her was as accurate as we would like.
Okay.
And then with recent conversations online, I just said, let's pull back for the time being, not knowing what direction town meeting is gonna.
well, right, I
Start
mean, do you
pushing
think
us.
I mean, I know you said you had a conversation with Scott Hawkins, and I did as well, he came into the transfer station and we
Okay.
talked a bit, but I don't know if anything will be brought up this year at town meeting as far as the cost of transfer station and all that, and maybe there will be more, I mean, I know that, I have a feeling there'll be a fair amount of budget talk,
Oh, yeah.
and so I think the more talk, the better, and to get people at least thinking about it, so maybe next year is the time to pull the trigger
I
on it.
wanna do some research, find out number of residents at Camelot, at Mosaic, at,
River Bridge.
Rockwell.
Riverbridge. No, not Rockwell.
Why?
That's 200 and something apartments, so I'm not
No.
gonna deal with that.
Oh, no, not, oh, you're talking, just bring
Well,
in
what,
recyclables or?
I wanna find out, based on conversations I had with a select board member, he's saying 1,600 residences in town, we sell 700 stickers.
right,
But a lot of those residents are served by dumpsters in their complexes. So I wanna find out how many residents, what the dumpsters are costing them, so that we have some data to work with. Cause right now, we got a black hole.
Yeah.
We don't know what's entailed with that, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think as long as we're reasonable on our increases in here, I think we can probably expect a fair number of people. I mean, I would assume that we would get about the same.
One
number of people.
Question comes up every year, recycling sticker,
That's what
or take it or leave it sticker.
that's where I thought you were going with that, Paul.
I
Well,
personally
that's
don't
why
see-
I didn't
yeah,
wanna call
I
the
personally-
meeting, because
yeah.
we still have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I personally see zero reason to have a sticker for Tilly. I mean, if
Yeah, I
anything,
don't
that's,
either.
let's encourage people. I think anybody should come in and,
I mean, the end of,
Right.
at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is eliminate the material we throw away.
yeah, and if the more people that are coming in, now obviously more people bringing stuff, there's a flip side to that.
Yes.
Yeah, and we end up throwing that stuff away.
We do, but we've also talked about CMRK is supposedly willing to take some more stuff that
Right.
we've currently been throwing away, so we need to research that a little bit more.
Yep.
Textiles, what are we doing
We
about?
get paid for those,
We have a
Where do you put 'em?
container, there's a
but we need a better sign for it, so
Okay,
they go
'cause
with
a
that,
blue
they-
container right near the mattress containers.
but it says
It's,
clothing
It's
donation.
like an oversized closet size,
Yeah.
and it says clothing. It's
I
blue.
literally was just talking to a resident today about that.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, it's not there, they don't have one. I'm
No, we
like,
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Just
we
it
do.
says clothing donation, and it should say all textiles.
Textiles, yeah.
okay,
We need a better sign, and it should get,
okay, better sign.
The only textiles, dog beds and things like that are not accepted, or even really filthy
Pill-
mattresses.
right,
We
and pillows, for
should
some
go,
reason pillows aren't considered textiles either.
right, pillows are not, so
Oh, they're
it's
not.
fabric, clothes, shoes,
Shoes,
things like that.
Purses even.
Yep, purses.
Could I just ask a question about the
Absolutely,
recycle or
anytime.
the take it or leave it stickers? Does that mean you would give residents an opportunity to just buy a recycling sticker or a take it or leave it sticker?
Probably
Is that-
not.
It's,
I
they're
don't-
two separate, so they're two
Okay,
separate
what's it?
things, so
That's-
take it or leave it would be, allow them to use the take it or leave it
Okay.
shed, which doesn't cost us anything, except for the more stuff that gets brought there that doesn't get taken away,
Right.
ends up in the hoppers.
And the
So cause they do a clean out, and they do it, those guys, the volunteers will do a purge,
Right.
and that stuff will end up in the trash.
Sure.
So we do have to be somewhat careful with
And it-
just saying, let's
and
let everybody and everybody bring it in.
And it's like a advantage to the people that bought a sticker to be able to walk around in
Sure,
there.
and that's
and
all,
see,
that's all a
you
given,
know.
but the question is, do we wanna encourage bigger use of it? And the question, so that's where you're selling a sticker to,
Sure.
if they don't have a transfer station sticker, do you sell them the ability to come and look through Tilly or bring stuff to Tilly? And
I know.
I'm not sure we need to open that can of worms, I just tell people to just go. And if those guys
Yeah.
want, I don't know, do they ever turn people away? I doubt it.
I would doubt it.
As long as you're taking some.
I know,
Well,
I've
right, I
heard,
mean-
I've heard some rumblings that, well, geez, some residents, they'll have a cousin from out of town and they'll bring them there, and I'm going, okay.
Yeah, right.
And hopefully they take a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
out,
right.
Yeah.
That's the
Agreed.
idea,
And they have a sticker, so it's like,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Come shop.
they're here once, Tilly's open 3 days a week, so if anybody from town wants to take advantage of it, they have reasonable opportunity
They
to do
absolutely
so.
do.
I don't think there's any,
Yeah,
I don't see an issue.
But the
there.
recycling thing, it costs us to get rid of the
Yeah,
plastic.
absolutely.
So there could be a charge for that. And if we did want to get into that,
But if they do recycling, where are they gonna send their trash? They're gonna
so
have
if,
to
so
stop.
let's say,
Well, a lot of
But they usually have
dumpsters.
recycling and
they
they have,
do, but sometimes those bins are like, my understanding is a lot of times those bins are like really full, they can't bring it conveniently to there, some people, I don't know all the reasons why they wouldn't. I just know that there are some, I do have 2 or 3 older ladies that live in Northbrook Village that will come and do their recycling. Now,
but they have their own dumpster
they have their own,
in their facility.
in their facility, they do. So why they don't have, does Northbrook Village not have a recycle bin? I don't understand why, but,
I
and,
have a feeling it's just all trash.
I think it is, and that's
Commingled.
because of the management companies, and they're
Yes.
outside management companies.
has
There are
not-
2 of them, because you got Northbrook 1 and Northbrook 2, and each one has its own management company, and they're not all on the same page.
so they just have a trash container.
I'm pretty
Probably.
sure that's all
Probably
it
two,
is.
hopefully. Yeah,
Well, whatever,
yeah.
but they don't have a separate
No,
recycling bin.
recycling.
I
And I
don't-
think
So
there are
that's a
just
good
those,
point, yeah.
there's those few people that want to recycle.
Yeah.
And should we charge them for that privilege?
And I don't know,
I mean, we get charged,
We do,
yeah.
but it's also,
Is it a
there's
cost of
literally
doing
like 2 or
business?
3 of them.
But
Cost of
it's such
doing
a small number, and, doing the right thing would be allowing them to recycle.
And I'll be honest with
Okay.
you, when it's literally a
Yeah,
small
you know,
shop. I mean, the 2 ladies I'm thinking of are bringing in a grocery store sized plastic bag. They're not driving in with trash bags full of,
So we have people doing the right thing,
yes,
and it's very minimal impact on us.
Yeah.
exactly.
Then let's
I mean,
take care of our residents.
Yeah, and
It
we're
seems
talking,
like-
and when you talk about the weight of plastics and what they're bringing in,
Is
it's
nominal.
negligible.
Yeah.
Absolutely negligible.
Okay.
And there are probably even times they're bringing us nickels. I've got to imagine they're usually more cost conscious than that, and they're probably not, but probably at times they've even brought us returnable cans. And we bring those in. So I would say it's not, but I also don't think it's something we should encourage.
No.
I don't think we should put the word out, hey, bring your recycling, let's, you know,
No,
'cause it
no,
does
no.
cost us. But,
The only other thing I thought maybe we could acknowledge the volunteers at the transfer station. No, you.
No, I know, I know
But
what you're saying,
take it
but
or leave it
but I
because,
don't know what you mean by
They're
acknowledging.
acknowledged in the annual report every year.
yeah, I thought so, yeah.
We could have a barbecue.
Yeah, there you go. But no, it'd just be, because they do, like Roger, all of them do good work,
Oh,
you know,
phenomenal.
every one of them, so. But,
Anyway,
And if
That
we
was
get
all.
a solar field in there, we'll be able to provide more heat in the
I would
winter and keep
definitely-
Tilly
telling
hot.
you, I would really like to, I would love to be able to get.
Well, that
solar
report
field
has
going.
been filed with the DEP on the condition of the landfill, so we're just waiting to hear what our next steps are. If we need to put in monitoring wells and
Mhm.
things like that.
Paul, beyond the survey of the landfill,
Mm-hmm.
all the way to the town field, would that be, something that we could look at to even include if we ever did it?
I think you'd run into a lot of pushback about cutting down a bunch of trees.
Well, the
You
back,
wanna deal with Concom?
well, the back's all open anyway, but there is a little wet area back there, yes. Yep.
You know,
Oh, I hear you, I hear you.
keep it simple, stupid.
It was
We
a-
have no control over the other stuff, so I wouldn't venture there. If somebody else in town, some other board wants to bring it up, then fine, it makes sense. But right
For
now,
where now? For the,
for solar field,
Solar.
I just look at the landfill area,
yeah,
We're going to the
which-
top deal.
you know, I think the actual landfill area is only about 2 acres,
Yeah.
but I think we're looking at 4 or 5 open acres,
Right.
not even counting the highway
so what
storage.
are you referring to when you say the town field? What do you, where?
Well, the South Commons is what I say. We're going
Oh,
from
South Commons.
Transfer station up to the South Commons. But,
Do they border?
it-
Do they
yeah,
actually touch?
yeah, well, they border, but
The
there's,
the land
it is
is, the
treed.
town ownership is contiguous.
Yeah, it's treed, but the old sand pit is kinda open still, that hasn't grown up too bad, but highway is still using it. They were supposed to
Okay, I
consolidate.
guess I didn't realize that they connected.
Yeah, they're
Look on
supposed to
the map.
consolidate everything.
Because I know we border Northbrook Village, you see, so it's on the
Yeah.
back side, it would be on the
Yeah.
back side of that.
And that's,
Mhm.
where it
I don't know how
connects.
much, there's a zone there that the town east to the Northbrook Village. so
I think we would have
get
plenty of
their
room
wells
on the
in,
open former landfill part that
Yeah.
would make a wonderful little solar field.
Did like
And I'd
Paul
love to
said,
we should put panels on the Tilly roof too.
Oh, yeah.
After it's removed.
Do we ever break down how many lead stickers we usually have every year?
I mean, the information would be available, I don't know how many we've.
I don't
done.
know how she counted that. We have this master list, but I don't know
We
if
do
she
have,
sat
like,
there
I
and.
think
John,
one, I
you
think
can
she
show it.
noted them, I would have thought. My guess would be there's 25 to 30 late ones, maybe a few more.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Certainly less than 50.
Yeah, less than 50, more than 25. More than you would think, I
Yeah,
mean, I would think people would,
surprisingly,
yeah,
yeah.
I would think that people
With
would
the
be more
increase in
interested.
rate, we'll see that may change.
Right.
People may pay a little more attention.
They might,
I got 4
and we might
years
lose a
to
few.
wanna see
I
it.
mean, at some point, there's a tipping point where people say
Yeah.
it's not worth it for me to drive it there. But they're probably also getting jumped in the rates for hauling too, so it's.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go down, the hauling rates.
No, they are not.
For-
And
for-
then, but that's where the whole pay-as-you-throw thing can factor in, whereas now if you start, people have to start paying, $500-600 for their bags,
Yeah, well,
then you might as well just pay
yeah,
for a
or
service.
even for pickup is,
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then it's just like, well, we'll just pay for service.
Yeah.
So
Has it
that'll
been,
be a.
has it
sticky
been done, or is it allowed to post what competitors that are doing pickups are charging compared to what we're
Is
charging.
there any reason we couldn't post it?
No, and
Well,
Actually,
don't just say no.
I don't
mean,
know
we
if that would
gotta-
upset BP if we're
Well, that's
showing what their prices are and how.
we have to be careful of that. I don't know that we can,
competitive, right, might
we also have to be accurate, and
Shoot.
what happens if they change it?
right,
The only thing I
shoot
think
ourselves in the foot.
we would be safe in posting is if, just providing, if someone wants to contract with a curbside hauler, that they're gonna be looking at
Range, maybe?
a range of $600 to $800 a year,
Yeah.
just to give them a comparison
Right.
to what our sticker costs
Yeah.
are and our fees, and give them information. I don't want to, it would be inappropriate to publish what we're paying BP.
No, we don't
Right.
wanna do that, but.
No.
I mean, it's public information. If
Right.
someone asks, we absolutely tell them, but
Okay.
I see no point in advertising that. Because
Maybe when we-
sometimes we're able to negotiate with them to
Yeah.
get it down a
Do you
little
think
bit.
maybe when we put out the sign that talks about the new sticker, when new stickers going into effect, should we maybe put something on there?
Yeah.
Keep in mind, something along the line, not saying this exactly, but keep in mind, cost of curbside pickup is $600 to $800. I mean, would that
Yeah.
be an appropriate thing to put on the sign?
As long as we verify it, somebody volunteering to call, one of the other haulers.
Well, I,
Or do we know anybody that uses curbside and talk to them directly, an actual customer?
Right.
well, I actually thought years ago that all haulers in Berlin, or commercial, were supposed to have a permit from the town or whatever
Well, it's
to haul out of town.
right, but that permit doesn't say what they charge.
No, but it could have it on there for them, and that's subject to change, I suppose, every day.
Yeah, right.
So you
The-
couldn't
the-
go by that, but,
That's called a permit to transport offal. It is not in effect in this town at this point.
I thought they don't have to register?
yeah, Mary used to tell me you did, but maybe it was another business.
we-
You don't, the town can mandate it. Until the town mandates
Okay.
it, or until the Board of Health mandates it,
Yeah.
they don't have to.
So the Board of Health has not mandated?
Has not mandated.
Okay.
I thought they had, okay, I thought we had.
We were gonna try and
Talked
do
about
that for the first of the year,
That's what
but
I thought I remembered the discussion.
we didn't get a list of all the haulers.
Okay.
Okay.
But, I mean, it might be worthwhile posting something down there about what it costs for curbside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's think
definitely.
about that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
we've got some-
I
we have
think,
some time.
It would tweak them, yeah.
Well, especially when we're going up. I mean, when we go up on rates,
Pe-
it's it's gonna be a conversation
Yeah.
piece.
and in a way, excuse me, John, in a way, it's just providing relative information for our residents to make a
An informed
decision that's
decision.
appropriate to them.
Yeah,
Right.
I think specifically saying BP calling out them and this and
No.
that and the other, but
That-
your general range is this. You're
General
gonna do
range,
this, you have a convenience of once a week, whatever it is, and then you have us, open 3 days a week.
Yep.
Now, I do have one other question, this is kind of scheduling.
Hmm.
Right now, we're Wednesday, Thursday, and then we're Saturday.
Mhm.
Is there any reason why we couldn't space it out every other day, instead of stacking it up on
Still,
some days?
My schedule, I'd prefer not to, but I'm
Okay.
I'm willing
That's what
to,
it
I'm
was.
willing to discuss it,
I understand.
but.
Well, here, the reason why I say it is when you have the summertime barbecue, and you gotta wait till Wednesday with that leftover food rotting in the cans.
Right.
But again,
No, my
I would
only
say
other
Tuesday.
response to that would be is this is how it's been, and
Yeah.
it hasn't been a. And I would say if we've had a lot of instances of people dropping trash at the gate, I would say we might wanna think about it a little bit more.
Have you
but
had, not bad, yeah.
Once I've had a person drop their bag. Having said that, Wednesdays at noon, from noon to 1 is a busy time.
Wow.
Because people have had that, there's that
Yeah.
pent-up demand of
Yeah.
being closed for the day. So it's not out of the realm, and Paul has brought it up in the past as well.
yes,
I'm willing
I'm
to
fresh to it,
consider it,
obviously,
yeah.
but
I
it
mean,
was-
I wouldn't quit over it, but I wouldn't,
no,
I wouldn't be excited
It
about
was,
it.
as I heard,
Well,
I talked to someone during coffee, Tuesday, Thursday,
It
Saturday.
makes more, it does,
It makes
from a
sense,
logic
but-
sense,
but
it makes more sense.
It gives him
Absolutely.
a chance to have.
But
a few
it's
days
also the
off
way
on
we've
and
done it,
off.
and I know that's a terrible excuse, well, this is how we've always done it.
Well,
But it's
origi-
what people are used to, and
Yeah.
it's what they've come to live with, so I'm willing to consider it.
Yeah.
If there's a real push and
Yeah.
need for it.
And one of the original haulers in town was Wednesday
Well,
and
and maybe
Thursday.
that's what sparked it,
what
is that,
started
because
it,
Matthews
yeah.
used to be the,
Wednesday and Thursday.
they were the hauler in town, they bought their stickers, those were the days that they hauled, and so those were the days that the dump was open,
That's pretty much,
Yeah,
is what
What
kind
it
of what
was.
well,
drove it.
that's what it started.
That makes,
yeah.
I had never really thought about
Yeah.
that, but that makes a ton of sense. That makes a ton of sense. Yeah, it would not be the end of the world by any stretch to do it Tuesday, Thursday.
I'm just, the reason why I'm trying to play
Right.
chess here, if we are getting a tremendous amount of pushback for the stickers, then how do we counter
Spread it
and
out.
say, can we be
To
more
offer
accommodating?
something.
You know, that's the last option. Just
Yep.
thinking of like a gameplay of like, you know, we have our chips on the table. When
Mhm.
do you bet this one? When do you bet that one?
I mean, and the only thing, do we get, I know that you said you had those conversations, has there been any other, I mean,
I haven't heard.
has there been a push, has there been a?
I've had that conversation casually,
Just
less than half a dozen times over the last few years.
It's interesting.
I
I've had it
mean-
about a half a dozen times in the last month.
Well,
Well,
and
okay.
that,
So
and maybe,
it's-
and maybe there's becoming more of a
It
desire
could be,
for it, and
you
that
know,
could, things change.
everything evolves and changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm looking at
we
ebb and
have to
flow.
deal
I'm
with-
looking at ebb and flow
Yeah, yeah,
reporting
exactly.
issues.
Yeah.
But no, that's why I'm bringing it up. Normally I would just sit on my hat about it, but it's been,
If
you know,
it's been
this,
brought
that,
up,
and the other
then
thing.
there's and you have to understand, and then you also have to take into account that if it's been brought up by those few, it's being thought about by 10 times that number of people,
Potentially.
you know, because it's not, you know, that usually is what happens. It's
I'd
not-
hate to put a poll out there and see what, you know, but it's,
It might, it's not.
But
it's
I don't
not
wanna screw
ill-advised.
anything up
No,
either.
but it's not, and there might be some other information we want to gather.
We are in the service business.
We are.
Bottom line,
Yeah.
we are in the service
We should
business,
probably
having a
think of-
transfer station, so we should be thinking about these things. Just because something has been in place for X
Right.
number of
That's
years.
It's a terrible
doesn't-
excuse.
doesn't mean
terrible
it should
rationale
stay.
to, right.
Right,
Don't,
it
oh,
is.
just because we've always done it this way, let's keep doing it that
Yep.
way. That's a terrible.
30 years in
rationale.
firefighting, I heard that too. Why impede progress after 250 years of tradition? So,
But I
You
think there
guys
could
still
be,
use water?
there could be some other
a
valuable.
lot of hot air from the politicians flowing right out.
But there could be some other
God,
valuable
there's
information.
gotta be alternatives to water,
It's
come
gotta
on.
be, it's gotta be. Dirt.
But there could be other information we might wanna gather
Yeah.
by doing some kind
Right.
of survey, and that's not a bad,
Well-
thing. I think we should think about what we might wanna encourage.
If we're gonna jack our
incorporate.
prices up on our customers, our residents.
Let's think about that
Let's
for a
think about
minute. I
that.
mean, we really, I'm not comfortable saying we have money in the budget to do any kind of mail survey, but, when we're selling stickers, maybe that's, a
A
pertinent question, you know,
Well, at
and
least
keep a,
servicing our
keep a
current customers,
log.
at least keep servicing our current customers.
Right.
If
and-
you were really fast, you could hand out a survey form at town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that too.
We
Something to consider.
discussed this before.
The other thing though is that when people do the mailing to everybody thing versus doing the current sticker thing, people who are using curbside are only getting their trash picked up once a week.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they have some burning desire, like, I'm not sure that for them,
Yeah.
it would say, oh, I'll go to you guys because you're Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
I'm looking
But
at my
open
current,
3 days.
yeah, I'm looking at the current people
Yeah,
that are
so
spending money with us.
I think there's relevancy in talking to our current customer base, which is an easier thing than doing a mailing.
And that could potentially, probably a small percentage, probably would be just negligible, but that might be a hiccup with some people.
Oh, it might
I
be.
can't get
It might
there
be.
on these
It might
days,
be.
but I could on a Tuesday.
There's a
Just
chance.
throwing it out there, but,
There's a chance.
Yeah, no.
you know, we seem to be taking up you know, and I understand
Right.
we're being charged more. I was just wondering if we could
Because
get
I
back.
had, when we went to the later Thursday, I had one person come to me and say that was a problem for them to change it.
But it helped.
And, well, and what they said was that I like to have my duties for the day done by 1 o'clock. And so that's why I go to the transfer station by noontime on Thursday, and that's my day to do it. So for them, it was harder because we weren't open until 2. But the flip side of that is the 30 people that use it from 5 to 7
To get
are
out
happy
later.
to have it
Right,
from 5 to
right.
7. So from that standpoint, but there could very well be people who work from home or who have some sort of a hybrid schedule that Wednesday, Thursday doesn't work for them. Maybe they have Tuesday, or who knows what their schedule is.
So maybe we do throw something together with a few other thoughts.
I
and
have no issue with that, because I'm more about customer service than about my convenience.
impede either. I mean, I know that's a life-changing event, it's not always easy. And I have to think,
We wanna
you know, the other
lose
thing you
Stan.
gotta think of, Stan, and I'm being genuine, you gotta think about your morale too, and the morale there. And we don't want sour or resentful people
I get that,
working.
and I appreciate that. But it was me really more pushing on that Thursday thing, because it actually benefited me as much as it benefits.
I
the
love the
town.
Thursday idea.
So
Absolutely.
So I can look at that as a flip side to that too.
But very worthwhile discussion and inquiry to pursue with people, I think, yeah.
Do we have emails of town residents due to taxes?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Because we could put together a Google poll and send it out through email.
No.
And then you don't
Well, we
have,
got a town register.
Yeah.
I-
Maybe
I'm
have to
just
do it
saying,
yourself,
as
maybe.
far as I know,
If
we
it's
do
up.
not have the emails.
Oh, yeah, emails, I see. Could go on,
yeah,
what
because I
is
was gonna say, I mean, but there
Berlin
could be the
Connect or
posting on the
something, but
Berlin Facebook
if
page
we
kind
went
of
to a
thing, but then
meeting.
that's a different thing than,
Yeah,
than
that's,
just inviting lots of comments for.
Right, exactly, that's it.
Do not leave any of them open to interpretation
Yeah.
for writing your own question. That's a bad day.
But it's a good question as far as what the town has for email addresses. I don't ever receive anything from the town on an email per se.
No, I'm not
There's the
sure.
phone call thing about like when schools are closed or when we get the town offices being closed for whatever reason, those calls can go out, those robocalls, but.
okay, we are breathing down the neck of the town meeting, so if we were gonna do some kind of survey, how would we do it?
Well, I think we gotta,
It would- Everybody gets
hand-
a paper
I
form,
was
a
gonna say a
handout,
handout when they walk in.
and then,
A
And a
collection.
box of
Somebody-
pencils.
Right, someone's gotta collect it and
somebody's gonna collect it, and
collate it, gather it, look at the info.
but yet, that could carry on till next year even, I mean, till next fiscal year. We could get a survey through this year and let it happen next year if it's going to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we would have to look at the results of the survey before we
Because it's a
implement
done
anything,
deal
so,
for
but
this
but
kinda,
physically
you know.
gathering that info
I-
could happen.
I think
It's
it helps us with being able to predict the trajectory we
Yeah,
need
and
to go.
talk to the people, right.
And show them that we're trying,
Yeah.
and hopefully we smooth over some of the other raises
But I
that
think
we
we ought
have.
to all think
Exactly.
about what kind of things we wanna ask on there too, cause I think there could be conversations about pay as you throw, there could be conversations about
Exactly.
composting, there could be, there could be.
right.
These
There'll
are
be
some
lots of
pretty
things we
big,
wanna
these
ask.
are some
Yes.
pretty big changes we're potentially
We're
gonna
thinking
implement
about.
without taking any input.
What are your
Right,
thoughts?
right.
Yeah.
And there's also the possibility that some people who are currently enlisted in curbside could switch back depending on
Sure.
what we offer for services. you
Exactly.
know.
And they might have
It'll
been out
be-
of it, they could be either been out of it for long enough to not even realize what the cost of transportation is,
Exactly,
or
yeah.
I've had people tell me that, well, just, my neighbor gets curbside, so I talked to them when I moved into town and that's what I do. Like, there was no discussion about what the alternatives are.
If
It was
you
just,
go down
this is
to-
what my neighbor does, and so this is what I do.
If you go to Dudley Road Development, which I did a couple of weeks ago and drive around,
Yep,
that's all it was.
Oh, it's all
One
curb?
buddy, one household got a container, then all of a sudden you see the same container
Yeah,
throughout the whole development.
right.
You know,
And
it's
it
like,
makes a
oh,
certain amount of
this
sense.
is what's done.
Well, right, we don't
You know?
have like a welcome
No.
kit for a new resident kind of thing, and there should be something like that has.
Welcome wagon?
Well,
Back in
yeah,
the old
that
day?
has the
Yeah.
information about what, what your
My grandmother used to do that.
services are in town. There aren't a ton of them, but there's some,
Right.
and the transfer station is a service in
And
town.
the
That's-
only
Welcome, the
other
way they do
approach to
it.
that would be to equip the various realtors that work in town with information, so
Yeah.
that when they sell a house,
Sure.
A welcome packet.
yeah, okay, you want trash removal, these are your options, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
just,
I would get some.
because if they don't hand it out, the realtor isn't gonna tell them that.
Of course.
You know, I have a friend that used to sell nice condominiums in Wayland, and people were buying them. They didn't even know where their electric service was. Or, you know,
Right.
the realtor wants to make a sale, and
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 it's
I
surprising how
understand.
little some people will ask,
It's
ask any kind of
really
questions.
surprising how little some public. I mean, we've had people move into town, call here, and say, "When am I going to get my water bill?"
Well, when's my trash gonna get picked up?
When am I gonna get my water bill?
When am I going to get my water
did.
bill?
Yeah,
She did,
she had no idea she had a well.
she had no idea she had a well, and she wanted to know where her bill was.
You should have told
So
us.
you'd be happy to send you
her
one. You can start sending her $100 monthly
Yeah,
bill for
send me a
her
check.
well.
You
Yeah.
know. Well, people move from the eastern
sure.
burbs where
Absolutely.
everything is, you know, municipal, everything. It's a
Same
little
driving through
different.
Northborough, it's all municipal, it's our
Yeah.
sewer,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
it's all
All right.
around us.
Some of us
We
have to
don't
work
have
at
Yeah,
noon.
Yeah.
all right. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I will second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.